Have you ever wondered what it truly takes to become a legend? In the ancient world of Greece, Heracles, or Hercules as the Romans called him, was more than just a hero. His story is one of immense strength, courage, and redemption. But behind the image of this muscular giant lies a darker, more complex tale. The true story of Heracles is filled with mysterious events, emotional trials, and endless challenges, making it one of the most intriguing myths in human history. Heracles was the son of Zeus, king of the gods, and a mortal woman, Alcmene. From birth, his fate was sealed. He was destined for greatness, but not without hardship. Heracles was tormented by Hera, the wife of Zeus, who was enraged by her husband's infidelity. To exact her revenge, Hera struck Heracles with madness, driving him to commit an unthinkable act. He murdered his own wife and children. In the wake of this tragedy, Heracles sought redemption and forgiveness. The Oracle of Delphi instructed Heracles to serve King Eurystheus and complete 12 impossible labors as penance for his sins. Each labor was a monumental task, designed not only to test his physical strength, but to challenge his spirit and determination. But were these just mythical trials? Or is there some untold truth behind these ancient legends? As we unravel the true story of Heracles, you'll witness how these labors transformed him from a broken man into a legend who would be remembered for centuries. What would you do if you were asked to face a beast so terrifying that no weapon could harm it? Heracles' first labor was to slay the Nemean Lion, a monstrous creature with impenetrable skin that made it invulnerable to mortal weapons. The lion terrorized the people of Nemea, and no one had been able to stop its rampage. Armed with his bow and sword, Heracles approached the beast, but soon realized that neither arrows nor blades could penetrate its hide. With no other option, Heracles was forced to rely on his sheer physical strength. In a brutal hand-to-hand battle, Heracles wrestled the lion to the ground, using his immense power to strangle the beast with his bare hands. After slaying the lion, Heracles skinned it using the lion's own claws and wore the pelt as armor, a symbol of his resourcefulness and victory. This labor wasn't just a test of brute strength, but of adaptability and cleverness in the face of the impossible. His second labor, however, required a different kind of strength, patience and endurance. Heracles was tasked with capturing the golden hind, a sacred deer with golden antlers that belonged to the goddess Artemis. Forbidden from harming it, Heracles had to pursue the swift creature for an entire year, crossing mountains and rivers. Finally, with perseverance and endurance, he captured the hind without causing it harm, proving that true strength lies not only in force, but in the ability to adapt and endure. How do you capture a beast that thrives in chaos and destruction? Heracles' third labor was to capture the Erymanthian boar, a monstrous creature that terrorized the mountain forests of Arcadia, leaving destruction in its wake. The boar ravaged villages, destroyed crops, and instilled fear in all who crossed its path. Armed with his bow and relentless determination, Heracles ventured into the rugged wilderness to face this chaotic force. He chased the boar through the thick forests, eventually driving it into deep snow, where its movements were slowed. Seizing the opportunity, Heracles used his immense strength to trap and subdue the beast. When he returned with the captured boar, King Eurystheus was so terrified by the sight of the massive creature that he hid inside a giant jar, symbolizing the immense power and control Heracles wielded over wild forces. However, the fourth labor required a different skill set. Heracles was tasked with cleaning the Augean stables, home to thousands of cattle, in just one day, a task that seemed impossible. The stables hadn't been cleaned in years, and the filth was overwhelming. But Heracles, using ingenuity instead of brute force, diverted the course of two rivers, sending torrents of water through the stables and cleaning them in a matter of hours. This labor revealed Heracles' resourcefulness and intelligence, proving that a true hero isn't just defined by physical strength, but by the ability to think strategically and outsmart even the most difficult of challenges. What would you do if you faced an enemy that attacks from the skies with no place to hide? Heracles' fifth labor took him to the treacherous marshes of Stymphalos, where he encountered a terrifying flock of Stymphalian birds. These were no ordinary birds. They had metallic feathers sharp enough to pierce armor, and their relentless attacks devastated crops and livestock. Heracles knew that defeating them would require more than brute strength. The birds were hiding deep within the marshes, making them nearly impossible to reach. The challenge was to find a way to draw them out of their sanctuary. Fortunately, the goddess Athena came to Heracles' aid, gifting him with bronze rattles that created a deafening noise. Heracles shook the rattles, filling the air with a cacophony that forced the birds into the sky. As the birds flew in panic, Heracles picked them off one by one with his bow and arrows, turning the gift of the gods into a decisive victory. This labor highlighted Heracles' ability to combine strategy with skill, using intellect as much as strength to overcome his foes. Next, Heracles was sent to capture the mighty Cretan bull, a wild beast unleashed by Poseidon to terrorize Crete. The bull's ferocious strength was unmatched, leaving destruction in its wake. Heracles, undeterred by its power, used his immense strength to wrestle the bull to the ground, bringing it back alive. This labor symbolized more than physical prowess. It demonstrated Heracles' ability to tame untamed forces, bending even the wildest elements of nature to his will. Can you imagine taming creatures that feast on human flesh? For his seventh labor, Heracles faced the terrifying task of capturing the mares of Diomedes, wild, man-eating horses that ravaged the kingdom of Thrace. These vicious creatures had been fed human victims by their cruel owner, King Diomedes, a ruthless ruler who used the mares to instill fear and maintain control. To accomplish this labor, Heracles first had to confront Diomedes himself. In a fierce battle, Heracles defeated the king, putting an end to his reign of terror. But the challenge wasn't over. To calm the bloodthirsty horses, Heracles fed them Diomedes' flesh, which finally subdued the mares, allowing him to capture them. This labor symbolized Heracles' unflinching ability to face brutality and subdue even the darkest forces. The eighth labor brought Heracles to the land of the Amazons, where Queen Hippolyta ruled over a tribe of fierce warrior women. His mission was to retrieve her enchanted belt, a symbol of her strength and power. At first, Hippolyta agreed to give Heracles the belt peacefully. However, Hera, ever vengeful against Heracles, stirred up the Amazons, inciting them to battle. Heracles fought bravely against the warriors, ultimately securing the belt. This labor reminded Heracles and us that even when peace seems possible, conflict can erupt unexpectedly, and a hero must always be prepared for the unforeseen. What would you do if your enemy had 3 bodies, a fearsome guard dog, and ruled an impenetrable island fortress? Heracles' 9th labor was to retrieve the cattle of Geryon, a monstrous giant with 3 bodies who reigned over the distant island of Erythea. Geryon's fortress was not easily accessible, as it was fiercely guarded by Orthrus, a 2-headed dog, and Eurytion, a formidable herdsman. Heracles faced a series of relentless challenges. First, he had to slay the ferocious Orthrus, then defeat Eurytion, and finally confront the mighty Geryon himself. Using his unmatched strength, Heracles shot Geryon with arrows dipped in the deadly venom of the Hydra, securing his victory and safely transporting the prized cattle back to Greece. This labor demonstrated Heracles' exceptional ability to overcome not just one, but multiple powerful foes at once. The 10th labor was even more daunting. Heracles was ordered to obtain the golden apples of the Hesperides, a task that tested not only his physical strength, but also his wit. The apples, guarded by a 100-headed dragon and the nymphs of the evening, were a gift from the gods. After an exhausting journey, Heracles enlisted the help of Atlas, the Titan who held up the sky. In exchange for retrieving the apples, Heracles agreed to temporarily bear the weight of the heavens on his shoulders. But when Atlas attempted to leave Heracles with the burden, the cunning hero tricked the Titan into taking it back, securing the golden apples and completing the task. Among Heracles' 12 legendary labors, 2 stand out as the most daunting and fearsome. The 11th labor saw him face the monstrous Lernaean Hydra, a serpent-like creature with 9 heads, one of which was immortal. Every time Heracles severed one of its heads, 2 more would grow back in its place, making the battle seem endless and impossible to win. But Heracles, known for his wit as much as his strength, enlisted the help of his loyal nephew, Iolaus. Together, they devised a clever strategy. After Heracles cut off each head, Iolaus immediately cauterized the wound with fire, preventing the heads from regenerating. With this ingenious tactic and unyielding perseverance, Heracles finally defeated the Hydra, securing one of his most cunning and hard-fought victories. However, it was his final labor that tested him beyond anything he had faced before, capturing Cerberus, the three-headed guard dog of the underworld. This task required Heracles to descend into the very realm of the dead, confronting the terrifying unknown of death itself. Hades, ruler of the underworld, agreed to let him take Cerberus, but only on the condition that Heracles subdued the fearsome creature without weapons. With only his immense strength and sheer willpower, Heracles wrestled the monstrous dog into submission. His ultimate triumph over Cerberus not only displayed his legendary power, but also symbolized his victory over death, solidifying his eternal status as one of the greatest heroes in mythology. What does it truly mean to be a hero? For Heracles, it was never just about his incredible strength or completing seemingly impossible tasks. His journey represents something far deeper: a quest for redemption, a test of perseverance, and the transformation of a man burdened by his tragic past into an enduring symbol of greatness. Each of the 12 labors Heracles faced challenged him in ways beyond the physical. They tested his mind, his heart, and his spirit. These trials pushed him to the edge, forcing him to confront not just monstrous beasts, but his inner demons and weaknesses. Heracles' story is a powerful reminder that true heroes are not born with perfection or privilege. Instead, they are forged through adversity, hardship, and sacrifice. It is not their invincibility that makes them legends, but their ability to rise after each fall, to face challenges with unwavering resolve, and to find the courage to keep going when all seems lost. Heracles' journey, filled with moments of doubt, struggle, and ultimate triumph, teaches us that greatness is not about being flawless, but about persevering through life's greatest trials. His legacy continues to inspire, showing us that no matter how overwhelming the obstacles we face, with resilience and inner strength, we can all achieve greatness.